So, we're gonna see if we can get that off. We tried a little bit, but we don't want to damage it. So we'll do a little bit of research and see if we can figure out which direction this comes off. Or anything, we'd assume it would have to go in a certain direction. And then here's our sprocket, like I was telling you about. It goes on almost all the way, as you can tell by this little gap in back there. And it hits the tops of these a little bit on the inside edge of that. So we would just grind down these just a little bit, the ears in here. So it's the right bolt pattern as you see. Just the inside, the center hole that like kind of aligns it a little bit and such is not quite the exact right size. But with 4 bolts in it, and for something like this, I would not worry about it that much, considering that's a pretty bulletproof axle for what it is and such. So we're gonna see if we can figure out anything about this, and I'll take whatever pictures, and I'll take this with me. So yeah, and then I'll try to see if I can figure out what this thing is also from quick. Try to see if we can get this collar off now, because it's a little bit different size than that, but the splines are the same size, so maybe it'll fit over there. Who knows? Minnesota's rust. A little key, a little tap, tap, taparoo. Victor style torch step. Hobart, I think, with some other stuff. Back with another day in the shop, working on this project. So, this is a 1983 to 86 Suzuki ALT 125 3x6. It has the same exact rear axle as the LT 4x6, which is a 4-wheeler. So we found this other random something rather, some sort of rear end that looks very similar. That the front of this, you know, at some point in time had a very hard life, and you know the back is all chopped up and bent too. So you see how there's no axle in there, and you see how there's an axle right here, and you see there's some mushrooming and some heat marks and some rust. So as I Do Cars would say, we breathed on it, and it came off with some 4 pounds of China, 2 pounds of China, and 3 pounds of, this is made in Vietnam or something. So, you know, whatever. So now, the main reason we did that is to see if that sprocket will fit on here, because a sprocket for this is, if you want to buy one that has like the goofy plates as that, which is what you need, it's about like $80 or to upwards of $100. So, that's expensive for just a sprocket. So we're going to see if we can get this one off and see if it works. Hopefully it does. Minnesota's rest at youtube.com. So we don't know what this is. We could probably figure it out, but it looks very similar to, this could be the one, the 50cc version versus the 125cc version. I don't know exactly. We're going to take this apart and see how it fits. So, we've had it sitting like this for a while, just looking at it. So see, there's our professional job of our mounting of this, or axle, how everything's good. The chain ends up in a pretty decent spot, actually. We've been debating about the front end for a while, and different things we could do for that. And we have not quite figured out exactly what we want to do, considering there's no real simple or fast options, considering that front end's basically shot. But you can see our rear nuts and bolts back there. And yeah, it's also rusted out, but that could be fixed, but it's also kind of dented in some spots, which would be problematic. and such. And then we have a seat kind of mocked up in here a little bit. I would like to try to lower the front end, but we don't really know. I don't really think that's going to be too possible. But it's definitely not going to be nearly as tippy because it's way wider. This tire is also still kind of flat. We didn't really air it up very well. So yeah, this tire probably is a little bit better than the other ones. So we'll get some measurements and stuff and see how expensive different tires stuff are. We have our engine mocked up. Well, we mocked it up earlier and we just have it sitting there. Can't really buy brand new bushings for these anymore, considering it's an old Montgomery Ward that's from like the 70s or 80s or something. Yeah, these ones are pretty rotten. The rear ones actually aren't super bad. They have some pretty decent sized cracks, but they're not like the sidewall's cracked, but like the main tread isn't like peeling. Like that one's kind of peeling, and so is that one. So yeah, I think that's it for today. But we got the whole rear axle one, which is pretty good. Good start. So we have our axle mocked up in here. Currently sitting upside down, as you can tell by these tubes just sticking out the bottom. But that increases our side to side by quite a bit. And if you, depending on how much you lower the front end, it would look like a funny car with how far off the ground the front axle would be. I wouldn't be totally against that, because you increase your distance quite a bit here, which would increase the stability. We really go down very much more at all because of how the fenders are set up. And I really don't want to have to mess with those if I don't have to, because they're just kind of perfect just how they sit right now. I like the look of them and everything. I like the grill. That's just about perfect too. So so you see how far down that is. So shooting that straight up through here, it ends up right on top of your steering, which is, not too big of a deal, because depending on how far that is, you just put this right up here and just shoot it straight back. But changing the steering on this, nice thing is it's just perfectly flat. So we could probably just put two idlers that are adjustable and that's it. So yeah. The main hard part was just getting a sprocket, and the rest of it is just kind of a little tedious work. Like mounting a rear axle or whatever. So, no big deal. If we did smaller tires, you could definitely go down more in the back. And the front's sitting up way high. But there's about 6 inches higher than I would want it. So, yeah. Might be worth figuring out some sort of aftermarket steering assembly too, than trying to mess around with old junk worm gears like this with a ton of slop in them to start, and then this thing that just bounces around in here. Takes like 6 turns of the steering wheel to do anything. So. But, we're trucking along. So we have our 212 sitting in here, mocked up with our torque converter from iParts Expert. $80 on Amazon. So, it looked good. It had good reviews, so, depending on where the steering ends up, that's definitely going to be so that will probably, oh yeah, you can definitely see that. As far as this goes this way, it hits that. So, yeah, whatever. Still will have to be adjusted. It's pretty decent. Height-wise, it'll be pretty good, it seems like. Yeah, stuff's definitely in the way at the moment, so probably have to cut back some of this. No big deal to get the cover and stuff on. We'll just have more room. So yeah. We should be getting or seeing what we have for rear axle pretty soon. So we should really get moving on this project then. Because I can't really figure out where I need to put the motor until I know what axle I have. Because if it's like a old four-wheeler or three-wheeler axle, the sprocket's usually set in one spot on those and hard to move. So if it's just like a random live axle for like a go-kart or something, you can move those pretty easy, so it won't matter as much. So I need to figure that out. But yeah, so everything fits good on it. The only thing is I had to remove this like back cover plate that fits over back under there. You can see where one of the bolts goes right there. So, if we just chop this little top part off, it should fit just fine. So yeah, so I'm just gonna clean up my mess a little bit, make sure I have all my bolts and parts, and then yeah, and then we'll figure out what kind of front axle assembly we'll do. Whether if we just do some chunks of square tube with some brand new spindles. That's the word. Or this rusted out piece. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, we're gonna put all of our stuff together, and then I'm done for now. As one other thing I like about this one so far, it has spots for like actual little bolts to hold the side cover on, versus a lot of other ones are just like a clip, and that the clip just like rattles around and like digs into the plastic. And then the ones on like the stock Coleman's are really hard to get off for some reason and get back on. It's like the hole's set too far in, but you know, whatever. Okay, this shall be continued.